Welcome back, Michigan, for another episode of Michigan Smash Storytime. We're doing kind of another summer one here. So the first thing I want to say, kind of an apology from us, or like especially me, is that the summer circuit doesn't look like it's going to really be happening. So sorry about that. So we're just kind of in a different time nowadays than we were with back in the summer circuit days. Like,
why don't you tell us a little bit about how it used to be in the past? Like, what was the original purpose of the circuit?
So the original purpose, it's the first year that I was aware of it was in 2014. I think there might have been years before, but that's what I'll talk about. Is in 2014, like the scene was pretty spread out. There wasn't a lot. Like there really wasn't a lot of scenes. Like there was MSU and U of M, and that was about it. And we needed the summer circuit to help develop the other local scenes and to bring out top players. Like we brought S2J once and stuff.
Yeah, this is before we had like 100+ tournaments.
And weeklies.
Scenes were small
all the time.
Yeah, there were no weeklies.
None.
The first one didn't start until 2015, I think.
Mm-hmm.
With UM bi-weekly, but.
And that's fine. Like weeklies are excellent. Like it's just different. Like.
And another part of that is that the scene nationally has changed as well. One of the big parts was to try and get our best players, who there were far less back then, to try and go out to these regions to help foster talent in these smaller regions, especially in West Michigan. And now that's not the case because we have tools like NetPlay. There's a lot more like information out there. Like it's easier to get better at Melee than it was in the past. So this is not as big a priority, and at the same time, these players are trying to represent our region. They're going to as many majors as they can, which are happening like every 2 weeks.
We'll get to that in a second.
And so all of that is making it, we don't want to burn them out by having them traveling all over the state for events that we're not sure that are going to have the numbers that we can be confident about for it to be worth their time too, because we want them to be able to play and we want everyone to have a good time. So that doesn't mean that it's too late. If we have people who want to step up and get events together, maybe we can get a circuit still. I know that we had one event already. If you want to do that, please come and contact me, and we'll see what we can do to make that happen.
Yeah, say maybe you run a weekly, and one of the weeks you want your weekly to be a little bigger than normal and put it on the circuit. Like something like that could work.
As long as it's on Saturday, I think is one of the 2 rules.
That's a good point. Okay, so there will still be events this summer, though. So as we're moving into that, one event that I want to plug specifically in Michigan is a 2-headed melee that Joe Guy is me running again. You might think 2-headed melee. What's that? It's a doubles centric. Is it doubles exclusive tournament?
Yes, it's doubles only.
Exclusive. And it's like round robin pools too, right? Like it was last year.
It replaces UMEME on Wednesday, July 19th, and that'll be a doubles only event. It was a lot of fun last year. I heard a lot of good stuff about it. I don't know how big it was, but
yeah, I don't think either one of us actually attended it, but I heard good stuff. So,
but it's a Joe Guy event, so you can expect a great time from him.
Yeah, and teams like it'll be sick.
A few other announcements real quick. I did want to take a moment to plug our Michigan stream, All Out Melee, run by the wonderful Skate, aka Jake Kelly. Yeah. I want everyone to go and follow twitch.tv/alloutmelee so you can catch all the action that he puts out on there. He's been putting a great stream in the past year. We're super optimistic about what he'll do in the future, and please give him your support. He is a Twitch affiliate, so if you have bits and you want to throw those out there, and he also has a really cool Beach Bucks betting system, and I would get in on that too.
Yeah, well, and honestly, if you want to follow Melee this summer, like most of the events in Michigan are going to be weeklies, and a lot of them are streamed by Skate on All Out Melee. So if you want to watch the Melee, like that's the channel to do it on.
Yep.
So now moving on to the majors this summer. So summer traditionally is a time that a lot of large events happen. Like Summer of Smash is a phrase you've heard before, I would imagine. And that's no different this summer. We have 4 large events all within 2 weeks of each other. And the first one coming up you've probably heard of. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, they alternate every other week, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
If that makes more sense.
That's a good clarification. The first one coming up, though, is EVO in 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, right?
Well, that is July 14th through the 16th. That is happening in Las Vegas, Nevada. And EVO is the only one this summer that is considered a super major. Yep. Super majors really only consist of Big House, Genesis, and EVO, and they are considered the biggest events. They are like international events.
The most important ones to win, that sort of deal.
Exactly. They have a lot of prestige. And, we don't expect you to play in a trip all of a sudden, but we thought we should let you know. Maybe it's something you want to consider for the future.
Yep. Yeah, because we're kind of going to hash through the advantages and disadvantages of these different tournaments if you'd want to go to one or in the future. So, that's one of the main disadvantages with EVO is that it's in Vegas, right? Like, I think you said that. That's, really far away.
You got
to fly. Yeah, you cannot drive to EVO. Like, it's not an option. I'm sorry. Maybe, but...
So what are the positives? The positives are that it's a super major.
It's amazing.
The Fuse doubles finals are going to be on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It's of course in Vegas, which is really awesome if you are 21 and over.
Yep. If
a little
not,
less if you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's an FGC event, so if you play other games that are not Smash related, this is a really good event for you.
And if you have friends in those communities, that kind of stuff.
One of the disadvantages of the event is that it is enormous. It's probably the biggest fighting game tournament. It is the biggest fighting game tournament.
Yeah.
The setup ratios are not great relative to the number of setups, the number of players.
Yeah, I was on a 7-man rotation a couple times at Evo. Like, it's tough, man. Like it's really struggle, for sure.
And it is expensive, and it's not the best experience if you're not 21. So those are, our opinions on Evo, but it's definitely something everyone should go to Evo at least once, probably.
Mm-hmm. It's a bucket list type thing for sure.
Yeah, and the finals are on Saturday this year too,
which is a little bit more of a bummer. But then moving on to the next major, which is quite a bit different than Evo actually. On July 29th to 31st, so the end of July, we have GOML again in Toronto.
Yeah, GOML is probably the most esports of these, or not esports, the most grassroots of these events. GOML, which in the past was attached to Good Game Con in Toronto, is now starting its first grassroots independent year. It's going to be a big year. I'll be personally working at that one.
And that's like a Melee-centric kind of tournament, right? Like there's other stuff too, I think, but it's mostly Melee.
Yeah, it's probably going to be more Melee than anything. The great one about this one is that it is by far probably the cheapest and best value.
And you can drive to it.
If you're a corner kid and you're just trying to get good and get matches, then this is probably the best value for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally drivable. It's about 4 hours from Detroit.
No problem.
I'm making that drive this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, that's west side to Ann Arbor is essentially 4 hours. So.
Yeah, so it's even 8 hours is not terrible for West Michigan as well.
Mm-hmm. One of the main disadvantages, though, as we've discussed in a previous video, it's in Canada, which, I love Canada. Canada's a great place, but you have to have like a passport or enhanced driver's license or something. So that's one additional hurdle to go to something like GOML.
We had to get Wes Wells across the border without his passport because he forgot it.
Oh.
It was really scary for a minute there.
The Mexic
was not having it. He was very stressed out about it.
Really? That's so funny.
Wes, of course, was just chill. It's it's fine.
Guys,
I'm American. They're going to let me back in. But, it's great that if you're 19 and up, the legal drinking age in Canada is 19, so that's kind of fun.
It's true.
And the exchange rate is good, so, it's like...
Well, it makes the whole event kind of cheaper.
A lot, even more cheap than it already is. Plus, there's the hotels are cheaper. Cannot stress this enough. It's a great value if you're really trying to get some matches in and go to a major that's going to have a lot of top players.
Well, and if you're from Michigan, if you're watching this video, it's a lot closer.
I'm pretty sure every god is coming, including Latin,
so
except for PP and Armada. So that's still 4, and that's good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
We take those.
Okay, so something like 2 weeks after that, we have Super Smash Con.
Oh, the last important part is that GOML tournament is Saturday and Sunday. Even though it's 3 days, you don't have to go the first day if you don't need to.
That's a really good point for somebody that they have to work. Mm-hmm. They have a
exactly. So it's a good one to squeeze in. Now, 2 weeks after that, August 10th through the 13th, this is the only 4-day event.
Yep.
This is Super Smash Con. It is the only one that is actually a convention. It is entirely dedicated to Smash and everything that is about Smash.
Mm-hmm. All the games are there.
This is probably the coolest event if you're not necessarily that improvement focused, but you really love what Smash is about, you love the community, you love all that stuff. And so this might be the best value for that, because if you're in East Michigan, this one is still kind of sort of drivable. It's
an MDVA.
Yeah, 7 to 9 hours, something like that.
Doable.
Depending where you're at. And so this was cool. We had a lot of people go, and they said it was awesome last year because they had music. They had all these bands playing Smash music the whole time, which is a double-edged sword because it was really loud in the venue too.
If you're really just trying to win or play some really hardcore tournament events, maybe not.
There are distractions.
Yeah, exactly.
But there should be good setups and just a great event all around. There's not a lot of negatives to this event, honestly. It's awesome. One
of the negatives, I guess, is also kind of a positive. The whole 4 days thing is pretty long. That's a lot of commitment for a lot of people.
I think you were saying that's right for you.
Well, you only have to play 3 of the days or something, maybe.
I'm guessing the tournament's not stretched out over 4 days. They don't have enough entrants to do that, I think.
That would make sense. We're not 100% about that, but I would imagine.
You can check that info probably on Smash GG.
Yep. That tournament's always really well ran, too. I think it has, you were talking about Nintendo, Joe Guy ran the Melee event one year. It's...
It's all run by, I think Nintendo is the tournament organizer, so I'm sure he's made it as the schedule the best that he can for attendees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and then moving on to our fourth major for the summer, we have Shine, and that is on August 25th through 27th.
Yep. Shine is
It's
in
Boston. Yep.
This one is basically not really drivable unless you're crazy.
Yeah, you could, but you have to be nice.
And have a passport to go through Canada.
Oh, that would be a better way to do it too.
But it's still like 12 hours, so it's not great, and that makes it pricier because you have to fly. Boston, not one of the cheapest airports to fly into.
Not a cheap area in general. Boston, most stuff's pretty expensive, like food.
But this was by far the most well-reviewed and positively reviewed tournament of last summer.
Especially surprising. I hadn't heard a huge amount about it before, and it's wow, huge event. Everybody loved it.
Last year was their first event. All the top players lauded it as just one of the best events to go to. Many of them said they're going back. And the main reason for that was because of the number of side events that Shine does. They have tons and tons of side events. They had lanes, which are sort of like Smash Ladders, but they were just universally applauded. They were awesome. Apparently, it's sort of
and they were kind of a precursor to ladders too, right? So I'd imagine they'll be doing some semblance of changing.
Exactly. They require more. I think they require more closer monitoring by your staff. But they, all these extra side events were just a blast for everyone. And there's not really much else to say. It's going to have a ton of friendlies, and if you want to go to that, I think it's going to be an awesome event too.
If there's one more disadvantage about it, and that's in the time that it is, August 25th to 27th, is it happens to be kind of move-in week or stuff like that for a lot of college students. So that could be tough for you if you're moving into a dorm or something. So
that's the weekend you move in. If you don't start school till Wednesday, you could work around it. But for a lot of people, that's just awkward.
Yeah, they're well, I don't know. I just want to get there and get relaxed.
Yeah,
I'm trying to go to major first.
I go to a major, then move in, and then just start classes would be really
But if you're a grown-up smasher, then that's not a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So college students beware. I think high school students don't start till a week after, so that's okay.
Okay, if you can, as a high schooler, if you can convince your parents to let you fly over to Boston. But hey, that'd be sick.
But that about wraps it up. Finally, I guess we want to let you know that on October 6th through the 8th, Big House will be happening. We just happen to be wearing our shirts.
That was not planned.
But well, we'll catch you in the next story time.
You said what? That's October 6th through 8th, right?
6th through 8th. Save the date. More details coming soon.
See you guys later.